Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Independence Day: Resurgence. Like a lot of people, I really enjoy myself some Independence Day. It's definitely near the top of my list for best disaster porn films of all time. However, I was really underwhelmed by the first trailer for this Independence Day Resurgence, and I kind of thought the idea of releasing a sequel to Independence Day 20 years later was a bit unneeded, and I wasn't really sure I even wanted to see this movie. But then the second trailer came out and won me over a little bit. I got a little bit more excited. Okay, this might not be so bad. And that's kind of how I felt about the movie as well. Honestly, Independence Day Resurgence gave me exactly what I went in expecting and looking for. It was a big, dumb, good time at the movies. So one positive, I think, that really set this film apart from really all the other Hollywood films going on right now is effortless diversity. We had a ton of different races and nationalities. It was a global film, and it felt like a global film. We had a gay couple that was just a couple. They acted just like all the other couples. It was never drawn attention to. It was never made a big deal of. None of the characters had the race really play into who they were, other than, representing their nation sometimes. So it was just really nice to see a movie that just incorporated everyone without making a big deal of it, without patting themselves on the back for including everyone. They just did it. I also think the effects in this movie were really good. This film cost about $160 million to produce, and you can definitely see the money on the screen. I thought the aliens looked very realistic. They were really well textured. Most of the special effects looked really good. There were still some destruction aspects that could have had another comb over or two, but hey, I noticed that in X-Men Apocalypse, and I've noticed it in plenty of disaster films, the actual destruction seems to be the hardest part to really nail down. And really, once this movie hits its stride, and in particular, the second half of the second act, as well as the third act, are fun. They're just fun. You're in the action, it's a lot going on, we're moving at a very nice pace, and you just have a good time with it. Unfortunately, that first act and a half or so really drag on. It takes quite a bit to get warmed into the film. They're introducing you again to all of these characters, to the new characters, catching you up on 20 years of backstory, and it started to really slug along. And really, that weird pacing at the beginning is going to lead us into the negatives of the film. One reason that beginning part just didn't work is because the script here really isn't very good. Most everything that is coming out of the characters' mouths is pretty cringeworthy. Most of the comedy attempts fall flat. Every now and then you have a nice little chuckle, move on, but really this script was bad. Also, it felt just so much like they were trying to cram fan service in every which way they could. That was just overwhelming. I was like, okay, we get it. We know who this character is. We know who this character is. And they just pop these characters in, presuming you remember the first movie well enough from 20 years ago to just instantly catch up and see a friendly old face. Sometimes it took me a second to be like, oh God, who is that? Were you? Yes, you were in the first movie. And that's the problem with creating a sequel 20 years after the first one. And the movie just could never find the right balance between introducing new characters, trying to remind you of old characters, and then just throwing the old characters in, assuming you're going to remember who it is. Also, they made everything really small because all of the new, younger characters are interconnected with the old characters. So instead of expanding out the universe and having new pilots and new blood in there, it's just nepotism throughout the whole film. It's just, kids of the original heroes and their boyfriends and their girlfriends, and everybody's connected and everybody's related. And it's just kind of like, we don't need to have family connections for everyone that was in that first film. Plus, the story overall it didn't really make sense. It seemed really contrived. You're like, what is going on? It seemed even more far-fetched and a little bit more ridiculous than the first premise, which in and of itself is pretty ridiculous. So it takes a while to buy into what you're watching, especially when the aliens make contact, because you're like, what? Oh, God. And then you're just like, why didn't the aliens just blast on through and destroy this? The aliens seemed so insurmountable to begin with. And then slowly but surely, of course, like most big action movies do, they reveal their weaknesses, or the humans find ways into the action. And it just kind of was like, oh, these aliens were very strong. I don't know how we were able to do any of this. But I know a lot of fans of the first Independence Day are not going to like this one. I completely understand. But for me, it really delivered exactly what I went into the theater wanting. A big, loud action movie that doesn't require too much thought on my part, but provides the fun time. Plus, for seeing it in large formats in a Capri, they gave us these cool little pins that have to do with the new movie. I thought it was pretty fun. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth a matinee on a big screen. Because if you're going to see Independence Day Resurgence, you need to see it in the theater. The visuals are definitely good enough for that. And I think you'll have a good time. Get some popcorn, have some snacks. Otherwise, I think you could just totally skip this if you're not interested. It's not going to provide anything you haven't seen a million times before. And Roland Emerick, you need to stop dissing superhero movies and how silly they are, because your films don't provide much more depth. So watch yourself, Emerick. So, that has been my review of Independence Day Resurgence. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Have you seen Independence Day Resurgence? Are you excited to go out and see it? And what did you think of the first Independence Day? Let me know in the comments down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!